All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We hope that you enjoy.
Hello, this is Ken from the KissFAQ Podcast. This is episode 367, and joining me today is Lonnie.
What's up?
St. Louis Kiss, and Marcus Almighty.
Greetings, everybody.
So you notice we're missing one important person, and that lowers our count from usual 4 to 3. And it's also lowering our IQ too.
Unchained.
Let me say our Kiss IQ, definitely.
Our Kiss IQ.
Our Kiss IQ has been lowered. So excuse us for any possible things we don't remember or don't have the answer to sometimes. So I guess let's get on with it. I'll just ask you guys: have you gotten anything new in the Kiss world or order anything?
Not
No?
me. I haven't ordered anything lately at all. Just not even just Kiss stuff. Just nothing really in general as of late. So.
I have not. I saw that the tour book from last night is version 6 of the tour book.
Wow.
So I'm interested to see. I have not seen at the work all day. I've not seen what the difference is, if any, or how subtle they are. So
Yeah, there's
I'm
a
interested
V6.
to see that. If it's, I'll probably end up with it. I think I have 3 or 4, maybe 4 of the 5 already.
Wow.
So I'll probably end up.
Okay. I have 2. I have just the 2 for the 2 different legs that I went to. I didn't get the other ones, just those 2. So I don't know if I'll get another one or anything. I doubt it.
We'll see what it looks like. We'll see how it changes.
Yeah. So it's been kind of slow in the Kiss. No vinyl other than because we had the off the.
Those German ones a couple.
And the
weeks
German
ago,
things,
that's about it.
But you know what though? It is kind of odd though that's really slowed down, don't you think? I mean, for a while there they were doing colored vinyl almost every other couple of months, and now the Elder, they could have done nothing. They could have did Alive 2 nothing. Like, I don't understand why they're stopping now all of a sudden with this.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if it's partly because of there was a backlog of a lot of vinyl being pressed, and obviously there's a lot of vinyl being pressed because you see all these different artists now have vinyl coming out and multicolors and stuff like that. So that industry is really booming, and I wish I owned a pressing plant. So that's what,
They are backlogged though, because a lot of those 2014 reissues are out of stock. So there's something going on, because they have been reissuing those, fairly regularly to keep them available.
yeah.
For the last several months, a lot of those are most of them are not available at all.
Well, the thing is, the guy that I go to get my stuff done here in Toronto, he's even told me before I was able to get my stuff, in relatively quick turnaround, like about 3 months, I could get my vinyl. That was really quick, right? And now he's told me that they're so backlogged now with orders that some people, like some of the wait might be as long as 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months.
Oh,
So.
shoot. Yeah. So there's I'm sure many reasons behind that. So unfortunately, we'll just have to wait for those other ones that we haven't gotten yet from Kiss. Otherwise, I guess there's the Kiss on Tour. I know a lot of people know about it already, but there's a Kiss on Tour 74 to 83 book, the new book that's from Alan in Japan, who's done the other Kiss in Japan books, which are very cool books, and I have a few of those. So are you guys gonna order that, or have you ordered that up yet?
I think Julian is going to do a little order for us.
Okay. So he did. Yeah, he's including you.
He
and us.
he messaged me about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're all going in there.
We're going to kind of save on some shipping.
Save on shipping. So so we're going to get that, and that should be hopefully pretty cool. I mean, it covers that whole period, 74 to 83, and his books have been good in the past. So If you guys,
a magical period.
Yeah, Alan posted it on the board. It may have dropped off the list or something, but you can search on Kiss on Tour 74 to 83, and you'll find the site. There's a site where you can order it online, like PayPal, that sort of thing. So
yeah, it's really simple.
Yeah, it is simple. All right. Well, the next news too is also about we've heard the rumblings, and then it's true, of course, that Kiss is playing their stint in Vegas, starting the very end of December, and it's going to kind of run in 2 parts. I think that one. I don't know, into early February. I think somewhere there. I don't know. It's about 20 dates or something like that, or.
Yeah, at the end of December, I think, and then goes
end
into
of December, yeah.
February 3rd, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's out there. I know Julian's going. It sounds like he's going on the 29th of December. I'm not going to go. It's too close. I mean, I'm going to see them in September. I can't justify going and spending a whole ton more money after I just did it for the upcoming show, assuming it doesn't get canceled for COVID or something. But yeah, I couldn't justify it. So it'd be cool to do, but I'm not going. How about you guys?
It'd be cool to do. I went to 2 shows the Las Vegas residency, and I don't think I have the pull to get that done again. You know what I mean? She didn't really enjoy Vegas. It was not her cup of tea type city, and I get it. I get it. So I don't think I need to see him in Vegas again. It'd be cool to go. Don't get me wrong. It sounds intriguing. And we're going to talk set list later on in the show. But I went to the Vegas residency thinking that, okay, 2 nights in a row, Friday night and Saturday night. Mm-hmm. You're going to be playing to a lot of the same people Friday night and Saturday night in a residency.
Yeah.
And they played song for song the exact same thing. I mean,
really?
Intro to intro, just the same exact. It was like putting on a tape from the night before. And like she sat down at one point in the middle of it, and I looked at her and she goes, "It is the exact same show. Even his stage reps are identical." She goes,
Right.
it's a tape of last night. I get it. It's not her thing. I drug her out to Vegas, and she's looking at me like, really? So, and not to downplay, if anybody wants to go do it, go to Vegas and have a blast doing it. But know that that's what happened last time. That on a Friday night and Saturday night, they played the exact same thing.
Yeah, and I venture to say that maybe even the night after that, and after that.
And the rest of the shows were the same too. Let's be honest.
I thought they added it. I thought they switched it up. A couple of songs were added or switched a couple of times during that.
I don't know. Ever optimistic Ken, but
no, I just thought I remember because of the DVD or whatever, the Blu-ray, right, for that live in Vegas.
I'll have to dig out my
they had more songs than were on some of the, so like they maybe added one song on a couple,
or maybe switched song 3.
They switched the song out
like
here and there. Therefore, the songs on the DVD or Blu-ray are the concert is longer than the actual show that maybe you saw. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well,
I thought I would call that, but
in any case, I mean, I don't think I'll be going. I mean, the thing is, you never know. Mainly because my brother-in-law has told me before, and I think I told you guys this in a prior episode, that he said that if it ever happens again and they do a residency, that he has a lot of friends through his business and stuff like that in Las Vegas, and that we could easily go, and that he'd take me no problem. It would be cool to see it, but the couple of things are kind of making me uncertain about it. I mean, number one, I'm still a little cautious about the whole COVID thing, even though I am fully inoculated. But still, the other thing that makes me a little bit cautious about it, and I'll be honest, is that I want to see how the rest of this tour goes so far, because, I mean, it's not. I remember seeing Kiss quite a few times, just like you guys did too, and it's starting to lose a little bit of its charm with me. I'm finding live. I mean, the whole notion of Paul, not really singing anymore and this and that. I mean, yeah, I'm sure I don't want to bring up the same crap over and over again, but there's something about it. If I was to go, there has to be something that's going to give me a little extra spark to want to go, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that. It kind of, and I think that probably leads right into their tour just starting, restarting or whatever, continuing the end of the road tour, which started last night in Maryland, right? And so I noticed in that, well, first of all, I saw some, stuff on YouTube, but it's the same, stage, which I guess I understand it, but they trimmed it down, and I think it's trimmed down because of the venue sizes, like an amphitheater kind of thing. They can't fit the same size stage in certain venues. We may see it change depending on some of the newer amphitheaters that have maybe a bigger stage versus the old one that has a smaller. I don't know. But I would have liked to have seen some kind of change up, at least on the stage. I think they just did some light changes. That's what I thought I heard. And then we'll talk about it, but did you see any of those videos or performances, Lonnie?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Lonnie.
I mean, I watched them this morning when I got up, I was like, oh, I watched the intro and, Detroit Rock City, and it's cool. It was cool to see them again. It was cool to watch a new Kiss video this morning from a performance from last night. I've missed doing that. It's part of my ritual around here.
Routine. Yeah,
it's part of my routine. Exactly right. When the show was going on, I'm checking my phone. Okay, where are they at in the set list? Oh, they played that. 10 minutes later, go back to it. Oh, okay, this is what we're doing. And then watching YouTube videos the next morning. It's kind of my, part of my little nerdy routine that I have. And I missed that for the last 18 or so months, not being able to do that. Guns N' Roses started their tour a few weeks ago, and I've been doing that every day with them. And, last night and today I got to do that with Kiss. I'm like, oh, this kind of feels halfway normal. My life kind of feels halfway normal right now for the first time in a long time. So, I mean, and that was cool. As far as the stage goes, yeah, they just had like the line of speakers behind in the back, or amplifiers in the back, and not like that pyramid thing that was leading up to the drum. That wasn't there. And you're right, Ken. It might have a lot to do with the smaller stage itself. And we'll see as the tour goes on if that changes, or if that was just exclusive for a smaller stage last night. I also did see that that they were, and we've tried in the last 18 months not to get political on this show, but I did see that if you wore Kiss makeup last night, you couldn't come in with Kiss makeup on at the show.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I don't know how wearing Kiss makeup helps spread COVID, but I thought that was very, very odd choice. That this is what's going to do it. So I thought that was very strange. I don't know the real reason.
Yeah, I don't.
Really, that's they're not allowed to wear it.
That's what they. And maybe that was exclusive for the venue last night, but they said no one will be admitted with makeup on. I saw Andy put that out there early in the day yesterday.
That's really odd.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought like you, Lonnie, what the, how could that affect?
What does that have to do with anything?
The only thing it would do is if you put on a mask, if they had the venue, if they're making people wear masks, then it's going to mess up your makeup. But
there's plenty of girls wearing plenty of makeup too.
Is there fumes? Is there fumes from the makeup that kind of get trapped inside, and you're going to pass out or something? I don't know. I doubt it. That was kind of a strange one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
But just I did watch some of the videos too, just to get my little 2 cents in. I saw the Detroit Rock City one. One of the things I noticed, and I mean, I'm sure you guys can maybe answer this, but I'm not sure if in the prior tours they were doing this, but I found it interesting that Paul and Gene were very sort of, interacting more with each other. Like at the end of Detroit Rock City, you see Paul run over to Gene and going, "Hey, look over there, look there, like check that out." Like they seem like they're a little bit more responding to one another on stage, which I don't remember them ever doing before. Is this actually something new, or is this something that was in the last tour as well that they did?
Yeah, it's been part of I think a little bit of this end of the road tour. It happened at the Dubai, I think too, even. And that recent what is it, Tribeca or whatever it's called. Yeah. So it's something they've done a little bit more than normal. Something I guess different from that standpoint. But I mean, I guess they try to do something a little bit different than the normal, licking the neck thing.
Sorry, I find it interesting. I know Lonnie brought it up just as simply as a joke there, but
let's talk about it.
But it is interesting because we did mention earlier, why haven't they done any new vinyl and snap? Well, maybe that's a smart thing that they're not doing it because they still have to give a lot of you guys your DVDs and your vinyl of this whole Dubai show. I mean, what is the holdup with that? I mean, you guys get letters from that, right?
Yeah. Well, the last email was that it was going to be in shipping in early August. we're past mid-August. Haven't got any shipping notice. I think last week I actually replied to that email that they sent saying that was going to be bullshit. I would say what is that? I said, has it shipped? What's the shipping status of this? I have not received any reply yet.
Huh.
And that was a week ago. So yeah, I don't know.
Everybody gave me a hard time that I didn't order the pay-per-view back in January.
Yeah.
So I'm still waiting, and a lot of other people are waiting for their package. I know we're supposed to get something now extra. I'll probably put a little button like
little keychain,
small. Yeah, something really tiny. You gave you an extra just for that, but. I don't know. We'll see. They owe us something extra for sure now. With it being, it doesn't take this long to.
Well, I mean that was done so long ago, and I mean even if they were to have a 7-8 month wait for the production of it, that time has passed already. I mean either they dropped the ball and somebody didn't order in or put in the order, right away, or I can't imagine what possibly could have happened, but. This for an organization who deems themselves to be so professional and so on top of things, how did they let this get so far out of hand here? I mean, I feel bad for Ken and people who have ordered these ultra deluxe packages here, waiting for it.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm used to it after all these years. It's things that happen like that with Kiss. There's a lot of things that have happened that take a long time, but whatever. I guess it'll show up maybe by September. I don't know. It's not looking
maybe by New Year's Eve this year.
It's not looking it's not looking good right now. So as in addition to the concert, their set list changed didn't really change, just a little shuffling, and a couple songs I noticed dropped off.
It's disappointing. I mean, it's very disappointing. You've had 18 months off. 18 months of really nothing. You haven't gone, and a lot of bands have gone into the studio and they've created music. Kiss hasn't done that. We've been waiting for them to go back on tour. So here we are, finally back on tour, end of the road tour. At this point in the tour, most of the people, I would imagine that most of the people going to these shows and seeing these shows, this isn't their first end of the road show that they're seeing.
Yeah.
Most of the people there have already seen one end of the road show. And they're seeing the exact same show, or actually a scaled back version of the exact same show they've already seen. I'm sorry, that's bad. I mean, and we're not trying to get on here and bash Kiss today, but that is bad. It really, truly is. That in 18 months, we've done nothing to change it up. I get it. We played the songs people know. Well, you're really playing. There's a pandemic going on, and I think a lot of the casual fans, that, I might go check out the Kiss show, might say that, well, you know what? Maybe I won't. Kiss isn't my favorite band. Maybe I don't need to go to this venue with 10,000 other people tonight. Maybe I don't need to do that. So I think they're losing. I think you're losing not all of that audience, but I think you're losing a percentage of that audience that's going to say, maybe I don't need to go. You know, I'll wait till my favorite band comes to town and I'll go see them. But maybe I don't need to go tonight. Maybe it's not worth the potential of something happening, whatever that may be.
That's an excellent point, because
so
we
really playing to a more hardcore audience at this point in time. A hardcore audience that, as I already said, has already seen you at least once on this tour. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm not saying, hey, you guys need to go out there and play The Oath. You need to play I. But you could play Take Me or Come On and Love Me or something.
Well, yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean, so for instance, and then what you're saying, I mean, Say Yes in the set list. They could have switched that out with a classic. Why not put in something that maybe some of these casual fans might know, like Forever or Hard Luck Woman or Christine 16, whatever, you know, something, you know, it got radio, you know, airplay. You cannot tell me that this is what, you know, the casual fans would want. No, they wouldn't, because they don't know the songs anyway, half of them, or most of them. So yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that Lonnie brought up a great point. The mentality now, after, you know, people have started getting their shots and stuff like that, people are still going to be cautious. People are still going to kind of take that rationale where they're like, you know what, okay, I feel better now about going out, but really, do I want to take a chance on Kiss when my favorite band is, let's say, Pearl Jam, for example? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to go and take a chance on them.
In 2 weeks, I'll go to that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'd rather take a chance with them, knowing they'll like every single song that they're going to play. I know all this stuff much better. I'll go there. So now, with that mentality in place, you can afford to do exactly what Lonnie and Ken are both saying. Change up the set list a bit. You can put in, like, I Stole Your Love or something like that in there, a classic song that the hardcore people are going, because the hardcore people now seem to be the ones that will be more there than the general populist people like before. Because before COVID, I agree, there was a lot of walk-up audience, there was a lot of casual people coming to it, but I don't think as much now, you know, because that was a great point. So I think that this set list is a little bit of a disappointment. And, you know, we did bring up, you know, 1 or 2 songs here, but one of the things that I found that was very disappointing in my eyes was how they're starting to do this little trick here where they do like Psycho Circus in partial form to go into a drum solo. Then they go into 100,000 Years, and then that's in a partial form because they kind of use probably that drum solo section as part of the drum solo too, right? Then they go into a bass solo, which again is just Gene, right? Mm-hmm. And then they do God of, you know what I mean? Like they have 4 things listed here as part of the set list that probably don't even make up a whole 2 songs. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable how they're kind of trying to cut down their set list here.
Yeah, I mean, I know Psycho Circus. I actually watched the video for that because I was interested, you know, how it cut off, and it goes through and it plays, and they get all the way to the actual guitar solo. And, you know, after the guitar solo, it kind of like dun dun.
Does that drop down?
It dropped down, and because it's kind of a mellow air, and then it, you know, boom, you know, kicks in kind of thing, you know. But they took that part out. It's just at the end of the guitar solo, it kind of like they do that freezing motion thing, and then Eric starts his drum solo, goes into the drum solo thing. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think anymore. The video only went so far. I don't think there was any more Psycho Circus after that. I think it went into something else, like you said, Mark, after the drum solo. Which would have been what 100,000 years. So, and then the 100,000 years they cut out. I think. Yeah, I haven't seen the 100,000 years video yet, but it says partial, and so I'm thinking they took a lot of that, do you feel all right part area or something out of the 100,000 years, or another part of 100,000 years. So we'll have to wait and see that. So they trimmed it back. I think they shortened the time a little bit. Just the other thing I'll mention too is War Machine is like is third song in the set list, and that's usually where like Deuces are up there somewhere in the beginning. Now Deuce is down to 17. Towards the end of the show, and Deuce does not belong in that spot. I don't know. I look at it. It's like it's a kickoff kind of song. It's not that kind of song to be putting towards the end of a show.
Yeah, they haven't put it that late in a set since they did this Destroyer tour. Because I remember when they did their first encore on Destroyer, it was Deuce then. So that was like way at the end. And I remember lots of people were saying, even themselves saying, it doesn't seem right to put Deuce that far in the set. That's always been more of a beginning of the set kind of song. And I think it's true. I mean, it's very odd where they placed that song in there. I mean, it's nice that they put in something like Tears Are Falling. That was like,
they have been doing Tears Are Falling though.
Yeah, they have been playing it, but I mean, it's not a common song, but but there's nothing on this set list that people go and say, wow, shit, I can't believe that they're playing that this tour. And you made a good point. 18 months not playing, come on. They had lots of time to go over some of this shit,
Parasite is gone too.
Parasite's gone. Let Me Go Rock and Roll is gone. And Parasite, fits in good for the hardcore fans.
Yeah,
I think. The casual fan's not going to know Parasite.
No.
But the hardcore fan has Alive. Has Hotter Than Hell. Parasite's good for that. It's not a single or anything like that. But the hardcore fan knows Parasite. And that's gone. You guys were talking about. I was talking about earlier about just kind of monitoring the set list. And last night, as I was winding down in the evening, I was like, I'll check it one more time before I go to sleep. And I got on setlist.fm. And the problem with setlist.fm is anybody can post whatever they want to. It's kind of the Wikipedia of set lists.
Yeah.
And somebody had posted that after Beth, they played Creatures of the Night.
Oh.
And then Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, they played Creatures of the Night. That's great. It's something. I was excited. And then I got up this morning, I looked at it again. No. They played Do You Love Me? Son of a bitch.
Yeah. It would have been cool. It would have been a surprise.
It would have been misplaced that late in the set list, but it just would have been cool. It would have been something different.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? That one point kind of really rubs me the wrong way, though, Lonnie, when you brought that up about how they're saying that, they've been off 18 months and hadn't really done very much. And you know what? These guys, I'm sure, have already gotten tested and this and that and all the proper things done to them. They've probably seen each other, been in the same room with each other, and they could have.
Sure, that's what we were told about Dubai. That's what we were told about Dubai 9 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and so why couldn't they have gone and work on some different? I mean, that's the only thing the only thing that really bothers me about this is that before they could always make the excuse, well, we don't have time, we have this going on and that going on. You've had nothing going on now, okay?
Here's my theory on that, Mark.
Ken's got an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse. I mean, it's just what I think it really. It's because these songs that they try to pull out a song that's sung by Paul, they don't have the vocal recording of it that they can use as part of the live song, unless they did it. One that sounds, from the prior Las Vegas thing. I think they're using vocals from Las Vegas shows for Paul. Those
the back
tape.
Tracks, you mean.
But you've had 18 months to put something like that together.
But so it'd be funny if they let's use they haven't done. I don't know. We have to find an example of an old Paul. I Stole Your Love.
For tape.
When's the last time they did I Stole Your Love live? Probably 2009. I don't know. I can't remember. It's something. If they can find a vocal that matches what these other vocals are, which I think are from the Las Vegas live era kind of stuff, then it would match. Because it would be funny if you heard all of a sudden his voice went to like 1977.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, whoa, his voice just improved.
But Dulani made a good point though. They've had a lot of time, and listen, I'm telling you, as somebody who works with Pro Tools every day, okay,
fix it.
That recording system, you could go in and do this stuff no problem.
Yeah.
They could go in and get Paul to sing it to whatever, sing it in the style that he's comfortable with now, or even do whatever. They could pitch correct it, do everything to make it sound perfect, and they could do that to 3 other songs and just have them on standby. Okay, tonight we're going to do this song, 3 nights later we're going to do this song, and they can do it. And believe me, Ken, they can do it. They have the technology. They can do it. I want to sound like $6 million man. We have the technology.
It may be
they can go in and
though.
do it and make it ready,
Or play Nothing to Lose and have Eric sing it. They've done that.
Oh, definitely a Hard Like
Just
Woman,
something.
Eric sing that, or a Gene song. Add a Gene song. He can sing. So,
Or do something really odd. Do like Dirty Living and have Eric sing it.
that would be really cool if they
What did you say, Mark? I'm sorry.
Do Dirty Living and have Eric sing it,
That would be so cool if they did something like that.
Yeah.
Play Watching You. Have Gene sing Watching You. That'd be fantastic.
Yep.
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah. So, there you go with our complaints, and we're attacking Kiss and stuff like that. But we love Kiss, but we get frustrated sometimes with this. I guess stagnant Kiss. I guess you can call it. That's the issue there, where I think they could, or we think they could make things better in certain areas.
Going back to my point earlier that you're really seeing that it is the hardcore fans. An excellent point of that is watch sporting events on TV.
Mm-hmm.
See how many more empty seats there are at sporting events than what there were prior to the shutdown. Why is that? Because they're only getting the hardcore fans to go down to these stadiums or these arenas every night. You're not getting the casual fan. You're not getting the family of 4 that's coming from a couple hundred miles away to come in to town for the weekend to take in the game with the family. You're getting the hardcore fans, the season ticket holders that come down there every night. So it really is the hardcore fans they're going to be playing for on this leg of the tour.
It's a good.
So what would really give them the flexibility to do, and I'm not saying play the oath. I'm not saying play I, but it would give them the flexibility to do something a little off the standard.
It's a good point. That's a good point. And the other point is, there's another reason. Some of them, maybe some stadiums cannot. You have to be vaccinated, and that's gonna. Some of those people well, I don't want to get vaccinated. I'm not going. I guess I can. If they really want to go that bad, they'll get vaccinated and go to the game, or whatever. So anyway, that's the code.
Now, another thing I think we should talk about, which I thought was very interesting, and it is on our list of things to discuss, was the whole Gene thing about the COVID, and more importantly, I'd like to talk about this thing of what you guys think about the whole David Lee Roth thing.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up next. We know about the COVID thing. About Gene says, you're not backstage and you should get a shot and all that stuff. But I think that's been out there for a while now. So the David Lee Roth thing. They finally announced that David Lee Roth is off the end of the road tour. He was the opening act, and so they brought back David Garibaldi. Garibaldi. The painter. The painter is back, and I saw no mention of the painter about the painter last night at all. David Lee Roth. Basically, Gene stated that David Lee Roth has become. He's not the same David Lee Roth he was back, and when he was in shape and all this stuff, and basically comparing him to the fat Elvis. So I was like, I don't think David Lee Roth has ever been out of shape. I've never seen him out of shape. So, is that just a thrown out kind of excuse to say, oh yeah, well, he's out of shape, so he's no longer. We know his voice is not the same, but they can't talk about voice because Paul Stanley's, doing that thing. And then maybe, I don't know, he says out of shape. I still don't understand what that means. And there may be something else to it where David maybe wanted too much money, or they weren't willing to pay him anymore, or
or he wanted the same money,
or he didn't want. Maybe David didn't get the shot. I don't know.
Well, I think it all boils down to, and knowing, well, I don't know David Lee Roth, but having read a lot of his books and listening to his podcasts and stuff like that. Okay, number one, that whole being out of shape thing, I think it's a bunch of crap. I mean, you're talking about a guy who does martial arts still to this day, okay? And I've seen like videos of him doing all these weird kendo stick things and stuff like that. I mean, let's put Gene and him side by side in a gym and see who will last longer in exercising. I guarantee you it's going to be David Lee Roth, okay? Now, the thing that I think it's about is, like, I think Dave was always a smart business person, money-wise, as well as, with ideas. I think it's the money thing, because let's put it this way. If you don't have those walk-up fans that they relied on before, your audience will be a bit thinner. Now, if he's asking for the same money that he was getting before, let's just say it's the same money as they did before. If the audience is less, that's going to be now less money going to Kiss, right? Because they have to pay David. I think that's one of the key factors, because I'm sure Mr. Garibaldi's saying, hey man, I'll take 10 grand, no problem a night.
Right.
I'll go up and do the painting, no problem, and that's a big difference when you're paying one guy who needs just a bit of paint and, some canvases and stuff than a band, because it's not only Dave, he has to pay the band and this and that, you know how it is with that stuff, right? So I think a lot of it has to do with cash. But this is typical Gene, don't you think? Spinning this to make it sound more dramatic than it actually is. Oh, he's not in shape, and this. I mean, that is just
take a shot at someone at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a band and a guy that you discovered yourself, who got such high pride. And I discovered Van Halen, and I did their first demos, and now all of a sudden you're shitting on them. Like, give me a break, man. This is like no respect at all.
Because someone had brought up on the board about. And it's true that when Gene wanted to sign Van Halen, that they didn't want David Lee Roth. They thought they needed to get a better singer than him as part of a signing him or signing the band or whatever. That Gene was doing stuff behind David Lee Roth's back when he brought them to the studio and all that stuff. But so I don't know if it has to do with part of that, or I don't know.
It was why. Like 40, 50 years ago.
It was a long time ago. I just don't understand it. But whether he's off, he's just say he's off. He's not. He won't be joining us on the tour, and we're gonna get the painter. The painter is back, but there's no reason to take a dig. He took a dig, which he shouldn't have done that. It's the same thing with, I don't know what it is between Gene and Paul. They like to take a dig at people.
We'll take a shot at
I don't know. It's like, and make it more, I guess to make it more controversial, maybe. I don't know.
And make it more about themselves. Look how great I am. David Lee Roth, he's not as good as we are.
Yeah.
That's a lot what it is. And I think it's pretty bad to say, well, he's not the singer that he once was. Like, really? For the band that used to criticize everyone for using canned vocals and all of a sudden is using canned vocals, now we're going to take a shot at somebody. That's like Mark's. That's pretty petty. It's pretty low.
It is. And the funny thing is that Kiss has the advantage of having pyro and all these special effects and this and that to kind of mask a little bit of their things that have gotten a little weaker with them performance wise. Hey, David Lee Roth was going up with just his band, a couple of lights, and the sound system. That was it. And they were playing opening, shows. And, it wasn't like, Van Halen level from 83 or anything, but it was still, I found it was pretty good. The band he had was very good. The guitar players were excellent. They played old songs like Tobacco Road from his solo records and like all kinds of stuff. I was like, I actually enjoyed, like when Lonnie talks about going on and watching the videos after the shows were going, I was spending a little bit of time actually seeking the David Lee Roth sets during that first tour, because I was liking how the band was playing with him. Sure, Dave didn't sing it spot on perfect, but who cares? I mean, musically they were really, really good. And that, like I said, no special effects, no pyro, no nothing, just the band up there with Dave singing, and that's it. And for him to say that, he's not a good entertainer anymore, he's not a good singer, and blah blah, he's out of shit. that's just complete bullshit. It's just their pride getting in the way of saying that, we just can't afford with the numbers now to pay Dave what he wants.
It's not that we can't afford it. Is it? We
Yeah,
don't want to
want
to take a dip in what we're getting paid for.
Exactly. There you go.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, you nailed it right on the head.
So that's the interesting news about that one. All right, so we're going to get into
we're really positive
a subject. This will be a little bit more positive because I just kind of was thinking about this, and you know how the desert island, take what would you take with you, that kind of stuff if you're going to be stranded on a desert island. So I thought, well, if you were going to take one Kiss studio album from each decade, they've been around 50 years or whatever. Of course, a couple of decades are going to be like easy because there's no releases really. But take one Kiss studio album from each decade to your desert island. Which ones would you take? And we could start. Well, might as well start at our beginning at the 70s. So, Mark, what one would you take from the 70s?
Well, you know what?
And let me just point out, I said studio album, so I didn't want to be able to cheat because I thought about myself, and I thought, I could pick double platinum, whatever. So I just said no. I'm gonna keep it to just studio albums and not live, just the studio releases. So
yeah. So the interesting thing is, as everybody knows, my favorite Kiss album is Rock and Roll Over, and you would think that would be probably the one I would choose to take to a desert island. And you know what? I'll be honest about something. My Kiss things, most people changes sometimes week to week, month to month. I've always been pretty loyal to Rock and Roll Over, and it still probably is my favorite. But if I had to take one, I still think, though, when I think about it really hard, I would probably take the first record with me, because that record to me, top to bottom, has a lot of classic songs that are played a lot by Kiss, and to this day they play a lot of the songs off that record. They do play a lot off of Rock and Roll Over as well, but I don't know what it is, but there's something about that. But there's a lot of stuff off of the first album. Like I said, they play a lot, and I've been listening to that album quite a lot lately. I've been finding myself in the car listening to it. Downstairs I'm in the den there. I pull out a pressing of the first album on vinyl, and I've been really digging the first album lately. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'll get to my pick, but let's see what Lonnie would pick.
I'm going to go with the same type of approach Mark did, where I'm going to pick an album that they still play a lot of songs live off of. But it's not the first album. I'm going with Destroyer because one, just to get Mark on. And two, because Destroyer was my introduction to Kiss. So I always give Mark a hard time about Destroyer because I try to defend Destroyer on the show quite a bit. So I would take Destroyer because it does have so many of those classic Kiss songs on it, from Detroit Rock City to Cocaine the Nighttime World. Even Beth and Shout Out Loud. It has so many staple songs in the Kiss catalog, and it is what Kiss is. I mean, it is what Kiss is to a lot of people, is what the Destroyer album is. So I'm going with Destroyer. Ken, are you going to pick one of these, or do you have a different?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Mark with Rock and Roll Over. It's like kind of my favorite album because of the songs, but the production and just the sound of the whole thing is really good. But I'm gonna kind of go with Mark, and I was thinking the first album also, because those classic songs like Strutter, Cold Gin, Firehouse, Black Diamond, Deuce. Love theme from Kiss, no. But 100,000 Years. I mean, that thing is stocked with classes. Sure, the production's not the greatest on it. It's not the greatest production, and some of them are a little slower tempoed. But it's really so good. And if I brought my, promotional copy of the first album, that thing sounds great. I mean, the sound of that is really, really good. So that's probably what I would go with, definitely. Yeah. And I can see, Destroyer from the standpoint of all those songs that are on that one too, like Lonnie was saying. There's, it's too, it's a tough choice. It just has a lot of good music in the 70s.
It is a lot. It is technically almost like the first album in this sense, because it was like a new beginning for Kiss with Destroyer.
That's true.
And if you think about it, they almost have as many songs played off of that album live as they do the first one. I mean, they look at even the set list they have now. Detroit Rock City. They did "Do You Love Me" just on this show.
Shout Out Loud, Got It Thunder,
Beth. Yeah, so they're playing a lot off of that as well. So I can totally see that being a reason to take it. So, what about the '80s though? So now we go over to the '80s.
Yeah, let's go to the '80s.
Let's go to Lonnie first. What would you pick first in the '80s?
It's easy for me for the '80s, and it's Creatures of the Night. It's not even really close in my opinion. Creatures is so good. The production on it is so good. We've praised Creatures on the show just numerous times, but those songs are so great, and it's just so thunderous to listen to. And again, like Destroyer, it was one of the first albums I ever had as well. Was Creatures. My brother and I had very early on. We had 2 cassette tapes. It was Destroyer and Creatures, and we eventually got Love Gun and Animalized and things like that. But my introduction to Kiss was Destroyer and Creatures, and you couldn't ask for a better introduction to Kiss, honestly. But song for song, they played. I guess they played 2 songs from Creatures last night, but there's so many good ones on there. Song for song, it's as good as anything they've released in the '80s. So for me, it has to be Creatures. I might not be the only one that picks it, but there's other good albums too. But for me, it's hands down Creatures.
Very good. Very good.
Mark, go ahead. You pick your.
Okay. Again, this is an interesting thing because everybody knows that my favorite unmasked album is Asylum, right?
Yeah.
But again, as of right now, I've been listening to a lot of different Kiss records. I've been digging deep a lot and listening to like Unmasked a lot on vinyl. That's one record that kind of has gotten back into my system a bit. But you know what? The funny thing is, I think I'm going to go with this exact same pick as Lonnie. I've always thought Creatures of the Night was sonically their best record that they've made. I mean, we've talked about that so many times, and I went on a big tirade about how the miking of the drums and this and that, and they've never equaled that production and stuff like that. But you know what? It's true. They've never had a record that sounded that good sonically, to my ears at least. And the songs on there are really, really good. And it's one of those records that Paul Stanley still to this day says that is one of his favorites. And when he says he compares it to Lick It Up and Creatures, he goes, Creatures would win all the time, and that the reason why people think the reason why Lick It Up sold better is that people bought using their eyes, not their ears, right? Because of the whole removal of the makeup, right? So, but I have to agree. I think Creatures of the Night is one of those records that I've not gotten tired of. The one thing with Asylum is that I love that record top to bottom. It's always been probably will still be my favorite one, but there are songs on there that every once in a while kind of make me go, and I'm tempted to maybe just do a skip on. I've never done it on Creatures. So.
Okay. All right. Well.
Ken?
I see where you guys are coming from on that. No, I'm not going to pick music from The Elder, though I do like that album. But
you're going with Hot in the Shade.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go with Lick It Up. I think
that's fair.
And it's not because they took the makeup off. At least for me.
No, I know.
I know for a Kiss fan it doesn't matter, but I understand why it sold more and stuff like that. But I just love the heaviness of that one. It's not as clear as and separated of instruments like Creatures is, and the big booming, of course, drums on Creatures, which is just fantastic. But just look it up. It's so in your face of an album, and just a bunch of great material with Exciter and Not for the Innocent. Look it up, and so on. And some people said they don't like those the Gene ones at the end, but I love those Gene songs at the end. So that's probably one of the reasons I like it. I like the whole album. The whole album's really great. All Hell's Breaking Loose. Really different
Fits
song.
Like a Glove.
And cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, Fits Like a Glove.
Daniel's song there?
Yeah, Daniel's song.
Yeah,
Daniel's favorite song. So, yeah, that's the one I pick. The Creatures has always been for me in the '80s just right next to Look It Up for me. Right behind it barely, and sometimes maybe I'll switch off, but lately it's been Look It Up. I'll listen to Look It Up more than I do Creatures of the Night. Though I love Creatures of the Night. Whatever.
I'm curious, Ken. Do you own a gold stamp promo of Look It Up?
A gold stamped promo of yes, I do have yes.
Of course.
Yes.
I have.
There you go.
I have the the U.S. promos. I have a promo of every single one of their albums. I have a promo.
Really, every one.
Every one of them. Of the
Now,
first pressing promo.
But let's just make a little distinction here. Some of them are just like gold stamp, but are not indicated promo on the actual label of the record. You have one that
True.
has on all of them.
No, well, see, on the label in the '80s, they did not put. I don't think they put promo on the actual label for like Lick It Up, for instance, or Creatures of the Night. They just had gold stamp on the back of those, but it was the first pressing, gold stamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like in the '70s where they used to say, promotional, not for that part on it. I do have all those. So I tried to collect all those, all the promo ones, and then
Very good.
whatever regular pressing. So,
Very cool.
So 90s.
So '90s. Oh, geez.
It gets a lot easier now.
I don't know if we need to. Yeah.
I don't know if we need.
It may be easy, because there's really 3 studio albums in the '90s, right? Am I right? Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Revenge,
Yeah,
Carnival
Kiss.
Souls, and Psycho Circus.
Yeah.
So Lonnie,
It's
we
Revenge.
know.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
For so many. I mean, not just because of Revenge, not just to sing Revenge's praises, but because of its competition as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much a no-brainer. Mark, you probably you on board with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Go ahead.
I was going to say I'm on board with it. Surprisingly, maybe to some, because it is a Bob Ezrin produced record, but I do like this one, and like Lonnie said, in comparison to what it has to compete with, I mean, please, I mean, Psycho Circus, while it's a sonically good sounding record, Bruce Fairbairn did a really good job with it sonically. The songs are just not there, compared to Revenge, and we already know the whole deal with Carnival of Souls. I mean, that's just Kiss wanting to be a grungier band and stuff like that. It's just not. Those songs never really connected to me. I mean, that's one of those records. But I don't know if it's the same for you guys. But if somebody was to say to me, what's that song on that record? The one with the mirror in the title.
Look in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror.
Yeah. Could you recite the chorus of that? I mean, there's so many songs on this where I couldn't probably recite to you the chorus because they're not memorable, the songs, as much as some of the other ones. I mean, Psycho Circus album, I could probably recite to you most of those songs, at least one part of it, but with Carnival of Souls, not so much, I find.
Yeah, I mean,
You used to listen to it.
Carnival of Souls is not as accessible as their Kiss's normal music, which usually has a real catchy chorus. Though there's a couple of them on Carnival of Souls that are semi-catchy, but yeah, it's not. They kind of strayed away from that style of writing on that one. So yeah, for me it's the same thing. It's, you know, obviously revenge. Yeah, they were back again for like a second time or whatever you want to call it, third time. And yeah, the other two just don't live up to it. Like Psycho Circus is kind of, it's okay, it's good, but it's all over the place, and it's not a true band album like we were hoping it was going to be. So, and then obviously, you know, the 2000s, the first decade, there's only one album, so you know.
Well, so Sonic Boom or Monster.
Let's do that. The 2000s. Let's pick between Sonic Boom or Monster. I'll go first. Okay. I pick Sonic Boom. I think it was a good attempt at trying to, you know, go back to the either 70s a little bit, and though it sounded to me a little bit more like 80s sounding Kiss. But and there's some good old songs that Gene brought back, you know, from the dead or whatever that he kept laying around, and you know, modern day Delilah with Paul, and of course Say Yeah is on there, and other stuff. It's a pretty decent, solid album, and the production is decent. It's still not the best production, but it's still pretty good, and pretty good attempt. And over Monster, which again we've had problems with. Some of it's the material on Monster that I don't care for. Some of it, and some of it is the obviously the brick wall production on Monster is just ruins it. Really does ruin it. And I think that one could have been a lot better if, you know, the production was good. But yeah, I think the material is better song wise on Sonic Boom. So I'll pick that. Lonnie.
All right. Yeah, for me it's Sonic Boom as well. Monster songs and Monster's production, just the production really does ruin it, and I feel like the songs themselves are almost leftovers from Sonic Boom in a way, where I think Sonic Boom song for song is just better, and the production's better. You know, we mentioned Say Yeah in the set list earlier, and like Say Yeah has kind of worn its way. It should have worn its way out of the set list by now, because I think they've just overdone it with Say Yeah since the album has come out. Mm-hmm. I get it. You know, pick a different song off Sonic Boom. I guess they can't play Modern Day Delilah anymore. Paul's voice, but they could. But they could. But you know, but do we really have to play something off of Sonic Boom and Monster? No, the people aren't there to hear that. But Say Yeah is a good song. So, and I Guess I Know is a really, I really like Yes I Know off that album. It's a great Gene
same
song.
Here.
It is a great Gene song. And Monster, to me, just doesn't have those great songs on it. They just feel like leftovers, and maybe it's the production, but to me, the songs the songs themselves just aren't as strong as what they have on Sonic Films. So for me, it's 100% Sonic Film.
Yeah, and I have to totally echo that as well. I mean, the one thing about Sonic Boom that sticks firmly in my mind is when they started leaking these little videos on YouTube of them in the studio working on these tracks. I mean, for me being, you know, and I'm sure for you guys as well, it probably was an exciting moment, but being like a musician who likes to record stuff at home as well and likes recording gear, this was like, you know, hook, line, and sinker for me. I was like, wow, they're showing the studio footage, which is so rare for Kiss to ever show something like that. So when I saw these little clips and heard some of the songs they're working on, I was like fully invested in this record, you know, and by the time it came out, I was ready, you know, even if I'm almost convinced that even if I first heard it, when I heard it the first time, if it wasn't even as strong as it was, I probably still would have been happy with it because I was so excited and geared up for it from all those things that were built up and led up to it. I mean, I even remember Podcast was doing like a, you know, live listen for when it first came out on their podcast, and there was all kinds of hype behind it. So it was really a well-pushed record. They didn't have the same push on Monster at all compared to this record, right? But then don't forget, it was the first record in how many years that Kiss put out?
11 years.
So there was so there was a lot of hype behind it. Yeah, there's a lot of hype behind it. And I think Paul did a good job in trying to recreate some of the vibe of the 70s and some of the vibe of the 80s on there as well. And we each got a song from Eric and from Tommy, which kind of gave it that extra kind of Kiss flair to it as well. Mm-hmm. And I just think that it's better thought out, better recorded, better sounding. I mean, still not perfect sounding, but it's much better than Monster sonically. And I just think that they gave it a bit more attention, and rightfully so. Like you said, it was like 11 years or whatever since they had a record out. So they definitely wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that people are going to, slap their forehead and go, what the hell is this? So I definitely think it's a no-brainer for me. It's Sonic Boom.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Mark. And, they had 18 months now to give us one more album, but hey, whatever.
That's not. We can't even get a different song in the set list.
They can't even do that. Yeah, so I think that's I think it's a done deal. If we're gonna get anything, we're gonna get old material, demos released and stuff like that. That other stuff that wasn't released with
or soundboards.
Hey, yeah, definitely soundboards and
I take those
and demo stuff. Yeah. I think is going to happen eventually here. Hopefully sooner than later, before all their fans die off, So
I'd be excited for another soundboard before the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like Black Friday or whatever they call it. After Thanksgiving. That'd be cool.
The Black Friday
Record Day or something like that. So, all right. Well, those are our thoughts on at least those albums, and then the other news about the tour and so on. Let us know on the board or on YouTube or whatever. Your thoughts. What's your desert island, and what do you think about David Lee Roth being Fat Elvis and all the other stuff, and about the set list and so on. Are you going to go to Vegas? Will you be going to one of these continued end of the road tour shows too? So anyway, but thank you for joining us again. And from Lonnie, Mark, and myself, we'll see you next time. Maybe with Julian.
Take care.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.